Welcome to Bedtime Stories ASMR. I'm Olivia, here to help you unwind and drift into a peaceful sleep. So, get cozy and let the tale begin. The Secret Affair. Part 1. John was a man who seemed to have it all. A successful businessman with a charming demeanor. He was respected at work and loved by his family. But behind the facade of a perfect life lay a secret so dark it threatened to unravel everything he had built. For the past 3 years, John had been leading a double life. While he was a devoted husband and father to his wife, Sarah, and their 2 children, he was also deeply involved in a passionate affair with another woman, Laura. Their relationship began innocently enough. A chance meeting at a business conference that quickly turned into secret meetings in luxury hotels and hidden rendezvous. Laura, a vibrant and alluring woman, was completely captivated by John. Their encounters were filled with intensity and secrecy. John would meticulously plan each meeting, ensuring that his alibi was airtight. Their stolen moments together were filled with fervent conversations, whispered promises, and the kind of intimacy that John had never shared with anyone else. Their secret apartment, nestled in a quiet part of the city, became their sanctuary, a place where they could escape the pressures of their separate lives. The affair was thrilling, but it was also fraught with danger. John lived in constant fear of being discovered. He was meticulous with his plans, always checking and double-checking to ensure that he was not leaving any traces behind. Yet, despite his efforts, there were cracks in his perfect facade. Laura had grown increasingly anxious, feeling like a shadow in John's life rather than a cherished lover. One evening, after a particularly passionate encounter, Laura confronted John. "I can't keep living like this," she said, her voice trembling. "I need to know if this is just a game to you, or if there's a future for us." John, feeling the weight of her words, promised her that he would find a way to make things right. He reassured her that their love was genuine and that he was working on a plan to eventually leave his family. But Laura's trust was wavering, and she couldn't shake the feeling that she was merely a part of John's hidden life rather than his true priority. Part 2. Months passed, and John continued to juggle his 2 lives. He became increasingly strained, his perfect image cracking under the pressure. Then, one day, Laura discovered a text message on John's phone from Sarah, his wife. It was a simple message about a family dinner, but it was enough to make Laura's heart sink. She had long suspected that she was not the only woman in John's life, but seeing the message confirmed her fears. Feeling betrayed and furious, Laura decided to take matters into her own hands. She reached out to Sarah, using a fake email address to set up a meeting. Laura carefully crafted a message, pretending to be a concerned friend who had information about John's activities. She arranged to meet Sarah in a quiet cafe, where she would reveal the truth. When Sarah arrived at the cafe, she was initially skeptical, but grew increasingly anxious as Laura shared her story. Laura described John's secret apartment, their meetings, and the intensity of their affair in vivid detail. Sarah's face turned pale as she listened, her world crumbling with each word. Laura provided enough evidence, photos, receipts, and even a few intimate letters to convince Sarah of the affair's authenticity. Sarah, devastated and furious, confronted John when she returned home. The confrontation was explosive, filled with accusations and tears. John's perfect world came crashing down as Sarah laid out all the evidence Laura had provided. The betrayal was raw and palpable, and the emotional fallout was intense. Sarah's sense of betrayal was compounded by the fact that John's double life had shattered not just their marriage, but the stability of their family. In a final act of vengeance, Sarah and Laura formed an unlikely alliance. They decided to expose John's deceit to the public, revealing his true character to his colleagues, friends, and everyone who had admired him. Sarah wrote a detailed account of John's infidelity and his secret life, which Laura helped to spread through social media and other channels. The story went viral, painting John as a deceitful, manipulative individual who had betrayed those closest to him. John's once respectable reputation was in tatters. He faced severe backlash from both his professional and personal circles. The affair, once a hidden secret, was now a public scandal. John's life unraveled before his eyes, and the repercussions of his actions were felt far beyond his own home. That was tonight's story. Now, let's dive into my thoughts on it. What a tangled web we weave, my dear listeners. As we reflect on John's double life and its explosive unraveling, let's dive into the juicy details and unravel the threads of this dramatic affair. Isn't it just fascinating how someone can appear so perfect on the surface, only to have their life be an intricate house of cards? John, with his polished exterior and charming demeanor, was the quintessential example of someone living a lie. Oh, the audacity. Here he was, revered in his professional circle, adored by his family, and yet hiding a scandalous secret that could topple his entire world. Imagine the life of Laura, a woman who, let's be honest, was both the victim and the femme fatale in this sordid tale. How romantic, how thrilling, she must have thought her secret rendezvous with John was. But oh, how the excitement quickly soured into disillusionment. Picture her, sitting in that lavish apartment, filled with the intoxicating scent of forbidden love, only to have her heart ripped apart by the truth. She was living a high-stakes game of emotional roulette, with John as her reckless partner. And let's not forget Sarah, the unsuspecting wife. She was living her life, planning family dinners, managing the household, and little did she know her husband was playing a dangerous game on the side. The shock of discovering John's betrayal must have been like a punch to the gut. Can you imagine her emotions as she pieced together the sordid details from Laura's dramatic revelation? The disbelief, the anger, the gut-wrenching realization that her life was not what she thought it was. What a gut-wrenching plot twist. Now, Sarah, bless her heart, could have taken many paths, but what does she do? She teams up with Laura. Yes, the very woman who was her husband's mistress. It's almost poetic, isn't it? Sarah and Laura, once rivals in a twisted love triangle, now allies in a revenge plot that was as calculated as it was ruthless. Picture them plotting over phone calls and clandestine meetings, discussing the perfect way to exact their revenge. It's like a scene straight out of a dramatic soap opera. The public exposure of John's double life was the pièce de résistance. Imagine the shockwaves reverberating through his social circles as the details of his affair were laid bare. Friends and colleagues who once admired him now had to grapple with the revelation of his deceit. The scandal was everywhere, on social media, in the newspapers, discussed in hushed tones over coffee. John's carefully crafted image of respectability was shattered into a million pieces. The way Sarah and Laura meticulously exposed John's secrets, oh, the drama. The emails, the photos, the incriminating evidence, each piece adding to the scandalous narrative. It's the kind of juicy gossip that spreads like wildfire, capturing the collective imagination of everyone who hears it. The unraveling of John's facade was not just a personal tragedy, but a public spectacle, with every detail adding to the sordid drama of his downfall. And let's not overlook the emotional fallout. John was left to deal with the shambles of his reputation and the fractured relationships with those he once held dear. His professional life was in tatters, and his personal life was a smouldering ruin. It's the ultimate cautionary tale of how living a double life and indulging in deceit can lead to catastrophic consequences. Oh, the tangled mess of human emotions, the drama, the betrayal. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. It's a reminder of how fragile our illusions of perfection can be, and how swiftly they can come crashing down when the truth emerges. So, dear listeners, as you drift off to sleep, ponder the twists and turns of this dramatic tale and remember the complex web of relationships that can so easily unravel in the most unexpected ways. That's a wrap for today. If you enjoyed my bedtime stories, please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for joining me tonight.